Hey friends, this is Dolynny TV. My great pleasure to have you along for today's Edmonton Oilers update as we get set to recap a little bit of that scrimmage, but really it's a 2-1 victory for Connor McDavid's squad over top of Leon Draisaitl's squad. Nothing major pressing over there. There was some hard hits, there was some goal scoring, there was some stuff going on. But again, I will defer to Patrick from the Oilers Fanatic, who will have your full rundown on that. Obviously, being in the building for it, different than watching it on a live stream. But as we boot up here, friends, today, obviously, too, we're getting into the meat and potatoes of camp. Tomorrow is the preseason opener. And all of a sudden, we've got some intrigue here. If you've watched Dolynny TV in the past, I've kind of had some, I guess you could say, leads on some stuff here. And what I'll tell you right now is Brandon Sutter is causing a little bit of an issue, but also a little bit of excitement at Edmonton Oilers camp. And that is where I would turn over to graphic number 1. You've seen this photo before, but I need you to look at that word next to Sutter's last name, simply saying impressing, because this is something that we did not expect to see at training camp for the Edmonton Oilers this year. Is Brandon Sutter to impress? Obviously, yes. He's a long tenured pro in the NHL, but he simply hasn't played hockey in 2 years. He's been going through a full lengthy recovery, and the fact that he's out here kind of, in my opinion, wowing the Oilers management and coaching staff and media that thought, this guy's going to come in, skate around a little bit, maybe go get a contract somewhere else. It's not going to be anything pressing. Well, all of a sudden, Sam Gagner comes into camp. We find out that he's not even going to play games. He's going to go down to Bakersfield. He's a non-factor for a roster spot. And Brandon Sutter comes in. He's moving well. He's definitely looking better than expected. And that's creating a little bit of a stir because you've got guys like Markus Niemelainen and Raphael Lavoie who need to go on waivers before camp ends if you want to send them to Bakersfield. And well, let me tell you, friends, that is kind of similar to last year's situation with Dmitry Samorukov, if you might remember. Samorukov ended up ultimately being traded to the St. Louis Blues for Klim Kostin, folk hero of the Edmonton Oilers 2022-2023 season, might I add. So keep in mind that the Oilers will, and I will kind of put this together for you in one simple fashion. I've had a couple runs at this video, let me tell you, trying to get it just perfectly right to explain it the best way possible, is that if Brandon Sutter makes the Edmonton Oilers, I can guarantee you, similar to what Bob Stauffer does, 95% that the Oilers will indeed make a trade before training camp ends. Simply, if Sutter makes the team, that means more than likely Lavoie doesn't. And well, now all of a sudden, what do you got going on? You've got a situation where, you still got to also possibly trade Markus Niemelainen. You don't want to lose both for nothing. You might want to lose one for nothing, and obviously not Lavoie. But when it comes down to it, if Lavoie somehow makes the team, you still possibly have to trade Markus Niemelainen, although I would put that more at a 50-50 depending on what the market for defensemen across the NHL is looking like. And obviously, too, if a team's claiming Markus Niemelainen, it's probably not a team that needs, it's probably a team that needs a defenseman to fill out the roster, not needs a defenseman to lead the team, because obviously Niemelainen hasn't had that experience yet. But when it comes down to it, friends, Brandon Sutter holds all the power. That's all it really comes down to at the end of the day. He is kind of the key factor in all this. If Sutter makes the team, it's almost 100% guaranteed, right? I said 95, that the Oilers will have to make a trade, and we'll see what happens. And obviously, too, it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out, because you've also got some injuries. As mentioned, Sam Gagner also on there, out at least another month. Matthias Ekholm's out for now. Ryan McLeod's out for now, which this is also going to explain something else. Lane Peterson's been skating with the main group, but if you're talking about Raphael Lavoie not making the team and getting traded, if you're talking about Brandon Sutter making the team off a PTO, then it would explain why Lane Peterson is skating with the main group. Is he's just simply, and I think it's quite obvious there too, just a placeholder for Ryan McLeod at current, and then he'll bump down, because you look back when we were talking on July 1st about Lane Peterson, it was very simply he's going to be a top line player in Bakersfield this year. So just kind of holding place for Ryan McLeod, which means if he's holding place, he's behind Brandon Sutter on the depth chart already, which again, you see also in the title, I've got Brandon Sutter likely to get a contract at this point. I mean, prove it wrong at this point. Yeah, games are another thing, and things could definitely take a turn, but I think from everything we've read at this point, Brandon Sutter is almost 100% to make the team, and the Oilers will almost 100% have to make a trade here before camp ends. So stay tuned, friends. This next 2 weeks, in words I've already seen describing it, could be interesting. So stay tuned, and we'll see what ends up happening here for the Edmonton Oilers. But thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV, by the way. I feel like I don't say that enough anymore, the way I changed up the intro. But if you are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Would love to have you aboard here on the channel the rest of the way home through the preseason, into the regular season, and then into the playoffs. I'm up on out of here.